Okay, next big part of the snorkeling system is obviously the snorkel. Uh, Big thing about snorkeling, always have it on your left side because your regulator is always going to come in on your right side, and you don't want to have to fight with mouthpieces on the same side. So when you clip your mask onto your snorkel, make sure you set that on the left side. Get that out of the way now. As for types of snorkels, everybody had the J tube when they were a kid, the one that every time you dip your head in the wrong direction, it'd fill completely with water. Now they have semi-dries and dry snorkels. This one's a semi-dry. They both look remarkably similar. The big difference is the valves, top and bottom. Uh, and this valve especially makes it very easy to purge. Having a top valve makes it so you don't have to purge. So you can dip, you can dive, you can do all the fun stuff. You can have a wave come over your head, whatever, all without having to drown. Um, just seeing if there's anything else. Uh, so for snorkel clearing, we will have that as one of our skills. If you have the dry or the semi-dry, it's going to make your life a lot easier. I highly recommend these if you don't have them. I know you guys said you had your own equipment. Um, they're not incredibly expensive. This will probably be the cheapest piece of equipment that you buy for scuba. Um, and I highly recommend getting one with the valve because when you blow out, all it does is blow straight out and down, and it's clear. Next thing you have for your snorkeling system is obviously your fins. I grabbed this one because of the spring mounts on the back. Different fins have different types. The most common is the rubber. Obviously, rubber has a fatal flaw, and when it stretches, it wears out, especially in Idaho where it dry rots. So the spring keepers are available on most fins. Even if they come with a rubber strap, we have spring straps that we can put on there for you. Um, and then, what is the biggest reason that we have fins? Propulsion, increased propulsion specifically. Fins make your life a lot easier because they amplify your efforts in the water. And then there are different types of fins. You have the traditional split fin. They're nice, they're comfortable, they're easy to use. Um, and then you have your less conventional tech fins that you can use if you want to get into more advanced things. He was talking about the wreck diving, cave diving. I don't know if you've ever heard of the cenotes, but if you want to do any of that kind of diving, the split fins will not enable you to backfin very easily. Supposedly it's possible, but it's definitely not the easiest thing.
Sure. So for the majority of the diving that you're going to do, like, the split fins are fantastic. They'll cover a current. They'll do what you need to do. They're comfortable. They maximize propulsion, minimize effort, right? So as you look at these, the nice thing with the split fins is it gives you a lot of effort across. And the easiest way to describe the difference between a split fin and a regular fin is the difference between an 87 Chevy driving to Salt Lake and an Escalade. While the Escalade is not going to be fast, it's going to be a very comfortable ride. I like these for diving, for example, Yellowstone Lake. There's no current there. We've got a 20-minute swim out there. I flip up on my back. We just paddle gently. These produce a tremendous amount of propulsion very easily without much stress. Other places these are great is if you have back issues. They definitely do a very nice job of that. The other big deal with having the springs on the back, as you can see on these, they have an adjustment, so you have to put them on, and then you have to adjust them in the spring. You just literally pull it over. It makes it a lot faster. I encourage the springs. Just it makes it stupid easy to get them on and get them off. You just literally pull the hook and flip it off real quickly. Whereas these, you have to literally get them on, have it open, and then you pull it and get it adjusted. Which, if you're in a current, if you're in try to get on a dive boat, it's not always the easiest thing to get them on and off without the spring. So. The material is high tevic plastic, so it definitely does a nice job. And again, different strokes for different folks, different fins for different types of diving. Again, for recreational diving, and 99% of the dives that you guys are going to do, these are great fins for you as well. My favorite ones, we were doing a drift dive in Florida on New Year's Day a few years ago. There was 3 women that had been making fun of my split fins. People online like to make fun of them quite a bit. Navy SEALs dive split fins, by the way, so they must not be that bad. But we were waiting for the boat to come swing by and pick us up, and it wasn't getting close enough. And finally, after the second time it passed, as it started to float away, I just put my head down and I just swam, and I passed all three of them. And they were trying to swim, and they missed the boat. I got on the boat. I clicked my fins off. I got back on the boat, sat down, took my gear off the boat, came back around, and made another pass. Grabbed them, finally get them back on the boat. And one of the ladies, did you see that? Did you see that? That guy passed us. He's wearing split fins. See that? They couldn't believe it. I'd passed them wearing split fins. I just put my head down and paddled. They're good for what they do. If you start getting into hardcore, there are different types of fins for different kinds of reasons, right? The snorkeling system, your boots, gloves, mittens, things like that. As you start getting into a little bit colder water, you're definitely going to want to start thinking thermal protection. Thermal protection is to your best advantage. The easiest way to do that, if you can keep your hands, your head, and your feet warm, the rest of you will stay tremendously much warmer as well. So the easiest thing to do is you can get a beanie or a hood. There's a beanie right back over there. David, would you pitch me that beanie? This is what I wear in the Caribbean. Just a nice little neoprene beanie. If you can keep your head warm, you can keep the rest of you warm as well. And they're crazy about it comfortable. As you get into colder environments, you start getting thicker and thicker material. We start at 3 mil and work our way up to 7 mil, 8 mil, then finally semi-dry, and then dry. So let's talk about that. Exposure systems that we're going to get into and use. You can certainly get into a shorty, a nice little 2-3 mil shorty. That's great for 80, 75 degree water, 80 degree water. 3 mil, 70 to 80 degree water. I can tell you I wear mine at 82. As it starts getting colder, you can get a thicker wetsuit into 5 mil, and they say that's good for 60 to 70. I can tell you Nikki was wearing a 3 mil in Hawaii, and it was 76 degrees, and she was getting cold. So be aware of your own thermal comfort. As you start getting a little colder, you move down to a 7 mil. That's for 50 to 60 degree water. Semi-dry. And the difference between a semi-dry and a wetsuit, who knows the difference?
The amount of water,
Exactly. Good job. The amount of flush. How much water is allowed to come in. So this is a semi-dry, and it's sealed around the wrist, it's sealed around the neck, and it's sealed around the feet a lot better. So in my semi-dry, when I start diving, usually it takes 3 to 5 minutes for me to start feeling water start to trickle in. It's not completely dry, but I can dive my semi-dry down to, I've dove it down to the 47, 46 degrees, and it's been fine. And then your final list on this, when it's really cold, you get stupid like Nikki and I, and you start having a dry suit. Literally, I'll start with a base layer like this, then I'll put an undergarment on, then I'll put my dry suit on. You're literally dry. We also wear dry gloves, so we wear wool mittens, wool gloves underneath our dry gloves as well. So socks, everything is warm. It's not the dry suit that keeps you warm, it's the air insulation between, and then the thickness of the garments below that allow air to be trapped and remain warm. And then you get heated undergarments as well. So the big thing is when you're diving, you don't want to be cold. It's not safe for you to get cold. So don't. We'll talk about that in more depth here in a little bit. So the regulator. So we have, anybody heard of a guy called Jacques Cousteau? It's got the cool French accent. Anybody heard his name before? Few times, once or twice. But we have Jacques Cousteau, you got to say it with the French accent, to thank for what's called the on-demand regulator. So there's a couple of pieces of this, and this one is wet. It's been used. So the first part is the first stage. This piece right here. So the first stage has one job and one job only. Let's grab one of these bad boys. That has 33 pounds. So we have this sexy little tank here. It is filled up to 3,000 PSI. When I crank this out, can I breathe 3,000 PSI? No. So your first stage goes on the valve, and it has one job and one job only, to reduce the intermediate pressure from 3,000 PSI to 140 PSI. That's its whole job. As it comes out of this, it's coming out really fast, really hard, really powerful. So my first stage, this piece right here, his whole job is to reduce the intermittent pressure to a usable amount. Now, we have our second stage. Our second stage is an on-demand regulator. I got wet all over the table too. Sorry, guys. Its whole job is to take that 140 PSI and allow you to breathe it when you want to breathe it. It's called an on-demand regulator. So as I put it in, if I'm not doing anything, nothing happens. When I start breathing and want to take a breath, the mushroom flange and spring open up and allow the gas to pass through the low pressure hose in to me so I can breathe. And when I breathe out, it'll go through the exhaust valves, and there's exhaust valves on either side. Now, a lot of second stage regulators also have a couple cool features on the side. And actually, how you can tell it's a little bit nicer regulator. The first one is a Venturi. You have your dive mode and your pre-dive mode. The idea, what it does, is in pre-dive mode, it actually takes a little hand and it puts it over top of the mushroom valve so that it can't go to free flow as easily. So it'll be harder to breathe, okay? So pre-dive mode, when you get ready to dive, just pull it towards you. The other portion is you notice a little knob right here on the side? That's if I don't get enough air and I'm not happy with the amount of air, I can turn it up. I can get even more air and make it even easier so that as I get ready to think to breathe, they start to give me air. Now, I don't encourage keeping that open all that much. Open it up a little bit, let yourself more air in. Here's the thing, if you open that thing up, it's gonna be super, super sensitive. Anybody ever drive one of those sports cars where you look at the gas pedal and it goes? I drove a live wire electric motorcycle the other day. You looked at that gas, well, it's not a gas, the accelerator, and it was like, whoosh, it was stupid fast, right, in sport mode. So that's what that basically does. We want to make sure that it's in a more reasonable amount, okay? Now, on our regulator set, we also have a second one. We call this one a safety second. What do you think that might mean to you? Why do I have a safety second?
In case your primary fails.
Exactly. I like it. Who else? So what happens if my buddy primary fails and he's out of gas? I can help him out. What I'll do, and this is what I teach, is I'm going to give him my primary and I'll take my safety second. So now we're both breathing at the same time. I promise you that this old school thing called buddy breathing does not work. It does not work. In fact, I encourage you, if you get a chance, after you get done with my class here, I teach a class called Stress and Rescue. It is crazy amount of fun for me. Maybe not so much for you, but I have a lot of fun doing it. So I will go through all the ideas of why we don't buddy breathe, and I'll help you get a better idea of how to self-rescue and how to assist in rescues as well, so that you are a safer and stronger and better diver. It takes 4 classroom sessions, 4 pool sessions, and about 4 or 5 hours out in the open water. We have a crazy amount of fun. Both these guys have been with me on Stress and Rescue. Was it fun, class? Did you enjoy it as a student?
I did it twice.
Aaron, did you enjoy Stress and Rescue?
Definitely.
Cool. It's a fun class. I enjoy it thoroughly. I enjoy teaching it. I enjoy taking it. It's definitely a fun class, one I would encourage you thinking about. Like I said, 4 days, and we also, as part of that, we also take a 5th day, and we get you CPR, AED, oxygen provider, and let's see, CPR, first aid, oxygen provider, and AED. So you'll get all 4 of those certifications as well. So, and those are good for 2 years. So those are the key pieces of your regulator set. There are other cool pieces of this as well, but we'll go over that in just a moment as what those are. So let's take a look at the tank. Think that I might put information on a tank that might be reasonably important to you? I think it might be required for every tank to have something on it that's reasonably important. I can tell you that's true. So the first thing is as we start looking around on the cylinder, we're going to find a couple things on here. On this particular one, it's TC. On our sample tank here, it's DOT. Anybody know what DOT stands for? Exactly. Good job. I like it. TC, anybody know what TC stands for? Ding, 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 ding. Aaron's got it over there. Transportation Canada. So it's their version of but at the end of it, when you say TC, you have to say TCA. Just kidding. The next thing it's going to tell you on that in our magical mystery tour is going to be 3AL. That's telling you what kind of metal this is made out of. So as we look at this, TC 3AL means it's an aluminum tank. Tanks come in a couple different flavors. They come in aluminum, they come in steel, HP, high pressure, and steel LP. There are out there some different kinds of tanks as well, but those are the primary ones you will deal with as well. These are all steel tanks over here. That twin set over there, that's a steel set of steel tanks. All those gray tanks over there, those are all steel. The blue and yellow ones are all aluminum. Okay. The next information you're going to get is going to get your serial numbers, information like that. There's also going to be a nice stamp on it somewhere. It's going to be a born date. Somewhere on this, it's going to tell you when it was born, and then this one's harder to read. Let's grab a different one because it's a little easier, a little less beat the heck out of. Mine don't have a second stamp on them. I was looking for one that had a second stamp. Oh, that blue one might have a second stamp. I'm pretty sure I had that hydroed. Yeah. This is one of my side mount tanks. So as you go through, you'll find this born date as well, but you'll also find another set of dates on here as well. So all tanks have to go through two things. One of them is once a year, one of them is every 5 years. The first one is every year they have to have a visual inspection, which means they're going to be completely emptied. We're going to take the valve off. We literally stick a light down in it. We look to make sure there's no corrosive or anything bad happening in there, because you really want to breathe rust. How about high pressure rust? Does that sound like a lot of fun? Not so much. The way we know that this has been visually inspected is we have a visual inspection sticker down here, and it'll give you the month and day, a month and year that it was visually inspected. Now, every 5 years, we literally have to send it off and have it hydrostatically tested. And that's exactly what it sounds like. It's filled with water. It's pressurized to a little over twice the rated amount. This one, by the way, is a Catalina, and it is at 3,000 PSI, 207 bar, which is 3,000 PSI. It's right there for you. This is a Canadian tank, but it's also been a certified American. So DOT, 3 aluminum, 3,000 PSI, can't be filled past 3,000 PSI. So they'll test that out. If it passes, they will give it a nice little stamp. So this is about a 15-year-old tank. Still holding well and does just fine. Spent a lot of time in a garage too, which helps. But it can tell you right here that it was last done in 19, so got another year or so on it. Every 5 years. Now, if it does not pass hydro, what do you think happens? It has to be destroyed. It has to be decommissioned or destroyed. It becomes a lamp, bookends, grill, door. We have one on our front. There's a fantastic doorstop. I really like it as a doorstop quite a bit. Thank you, sir. But once a year inspection, visual. Once every 5 years, hydrostatically pressed. Here's what your visualization sticker will look like. By the way, there's also something else can be done. It can be O2 cleaned. Now, what does that mean to you? It means it can use a higher percentage of oxygen in it instead of just the air that we breathe. We're breathing 20% oxygen, 79% nitrogen. We can put up to 40% oxygen in this instead. Now, question for you guys. Would you guys like to be able to dive and have more bottom time, shorter surface intervals, have safer dives, and more energy after your dives? Does any of that sound interesting? Does it? It should. Yeah, nobody flies 3,000 miles to Truck Lagoon or wherever to have shorter dives, right?
So is that nitrox?
That is exactly where we're talking. So nitrox is for you if that sounds interesting. We have a special on that, and we do that as part of this class. Although it's one more class night, but we do it virtually, so you can stay home in your jammies and have s'mores if you like. Whatever you're into. I do it from the comfort of my office. I will put a polo on. Please don't ask me to stand up because I'll be wearing jammy shorts. But we do it virtually. It takes about 3 hours. We go through all the ins and outs of that, and then on dive 2 for open water, we'll have you dive nitrox. I strongly encourage doing nitrox. it is to your advantage. It's a lifetime certification. You'll have to do it once, but
that counts as specialty dive.
it does count as a
Certification,
specialty. It is a specialty, absolutely. So I definitely encourage nitrox. So if you'd like to sign up for nitrox, when you come in on Thursday, let's just get you signed up. We'll schedule the class. I'll be happy to teach that as well. The buoyancy compensator. We talked a little bit about this. Let's see if we can grab an adult size here. Apparently not. Apparently all we have is miniature people today. So we got a buoyancy compensator. So the first thing we have is our low pressure inflator. We'll talk about that right over here. Your tank is going to have a line that's going to go straight from that first stage over to your LP inflator. Either way, it's the other. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to put it on anybody. But it's going to have two operations. The side button, push that, it's going to go, and it's going to fill up your BC. Good news is as you fill this up, there is an OPV or overpressurization valve. You cannot overfill a BC. You will, if you're in the water, you'll hear it go, and it'll fart on you. So you have multiple dump points, one at the top, one up here, one down here on your hip. That's called a hip dump, but they're all OPV valves, so you can't overinflate them. If for some chance the low pressure valve doesn't work, you also have the ability to orally inflate. Just push the top button. If you'd like to let the air out, all you have to do is simply push that button. Hold it nice and high and straight up. Let's see, it has nice shoulder straps. They're nice and comfy for you. It also has a cummerbund that will go around your waist, and most of them will have a chest strap. I like a chest strap. Just makes me feel special, like I'm Spider-Man or climbing Mount Everest or something. But nice and comfortable, okay? Has dump valves. There are several. If you pull this hose gently, it will dump. If you reach over your right shoulder, you'll find another dump point. If you reach to your right hip, there's another dump point. So you've got multiple places where you can dump the air, or the easiest way, get in the vertical position, go straight, hold your hand up nice and straight high, push that top button, gravity will push the air out and you will make it sink even easier. All these will come with ditchable weights. We do not use weight belts anymore, and they pull out just that easily. We'll put weight in this and that'll help you sink so that you're able to actually descend. If you do not have weight in there, you probably won't sink, right? Now, most accidents to be avoided, this might be a test question, by knowing how to do two things. Who knows what the two things might be? I was holding one of them.
Dump your weight.
Ditch your weight. Knowing how to ditch your weight is exactly right. Or inflate your BC. Knowing how to inflate your BC and ditch your weights can reduce and remove majority of accidents. Or majority of accidents can be avoided by knowing how to ditch your weights and inflate your BC. I've showed you how to do it. It's not rocket science for sure. Even I can do it. And the last piece is, most BCs will come with nice little D-rings so you can clip stuff to it. Different pieces and bobbles and bits. If you have a clip, you can clip your computer and your gauge to it so that you're able to clip it away. But it makes it nice and tidy. One of my biggest pet peeves with divers is when I see things hanging off them and dangling everywhere. Because all you're asking to do is have that drag across the coral, drag it across into something, get caught in something, you go into a shipwreck because you think you can penetrate it. You get stuck in the door and you get to stay down with the shipwreck for the rest of your life, which is about 45 minutes. Making sure you clip things away is definitely a nice way to go. The information system, this is one of mine. As my wife will tell you, I'm kind of addicted to crap, to stuff. There we go. Is your information system. And the information system is pretty slick. It'll tell you quite a few different things. I definitely encourage a nice computer digital monitoring system. You can get them wrist mounted, you can get watch style, you can get them inline where they connect up to something like this is. This is a manual style. But getting a nice wrist mounted computer will give you a tremendous amount of information. And this particular one, this is a Eon Core, nice little computer. My wife had one. I liked this particular one, because from a distance of me to Erin, I could tell how much air she had. This one is air integrated, so it tells you how much air you have, your tank PSI, your no decompression limits, which is definitely going to be key. We're going to go over that at some point. Your dive time, how long I've been down, my current depth, whether I need to come to a safety stop, and then finally my ascent speed, as well as the temperature of the water.
So I had a question about
Sure.
this. Can you run just a regular computer or with an air
Mhm.
integrated wireless on the same each one? Do you have enough ports for that? Do you have
You have two.
extra
You
ones?
generally have two HP ports for pods, and you can run multiple computers as well. So if you're running an AI mode, air integrated mode, it'll have to have the pod. This one has a pod that connects to my computer or
So
to my first
you
stage.
say you've got four, and you've got one that's going to be obviously for your primary, one that's going to be.
I only I've got a bunch, but I only dive two at a time. I dive a primary and a backup, and usually I'll dive one computer that's actually air integrated, and I'll dive one computer that it's not.
Okay.
So one that gives me the gas. And a lot of times on the way I've set up is I've got a manual SPG that comes off. That's just all it is just a manual.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I just run a manual gauge style SPG. In fact, Saturday when I was diving, I actually didn't have an air integration at all on my computers at all. I was wearing two computers, and then I had just a manual SPG that I could check for gas. But having a digital SPG is definitely very nice to be able to look down. This one will read the amount of gas that I'm diving, and it'll tell me all the other cool stuff that I need to know as well. And it'll keep track of my nitrogen load as well. But the key things that you need to make sure that you're always taking into account: depth, time, and air. How much air do I have? In fact, one of the things that happens in an emergency, the first thing, if you guys start to get to a stressed out point or something's happening and you're worried, the very first thing I always want you guys to do is stop, breathe, think, and then check your air. Air means time, and you'll learn that a lot about that in stress and rescue. But the more air you have, the more decision-making time you have. If you have 5 psi, then it's time to have your oh shit moment, right? But keeping a good eye on your gauges and what's going on, the easiest way I can tell you that I suggest is check your air every 2 minutes or every time you see something interesting. I keep mine on my wrist, just right there. So when I dive, and you guys will see when I dive, I keep my hands in front of me. You saw on some of those photos. So all I have to do is just look down and I can see my gas, okay? And I check my gas a lot. Definitely to your advantage to make sure you're checking on a regular basis. We do carry just about, well, every one of the computers that you see on the screen is something we do carry here. My wife had, this is the i550. It hooks in manually into your first stage. She loves it. If you see her dive with you guys, it's on her teaching BC. She had it for a long time. This is the newest, greatest, coolest computer that the dive shop sells. It's the Apex DX or DSX. The dive shop gave it to me yesterday, so I'm going to do some videos on it and things like that. So it's my new toy. Equipment service program. When you buy your own equipment, you will dive more. You will dive more safely and you'll dive more comfortably. But as part of that, I encourage you that before every trip, you just bring it in and have us check it out. We do have a full SSI service equipment program. We'll check your information systems, your compensator, your protection, we'll visually inspect everything and make sure your exposure system is good. So we can even fix wetsuits as well. All right, adaptation to the aquatic environment. I've got a cooler slide than this that I'm going to add. I just hadn't had a chance yet. So anybody remember from school Roy G. Biv? You heard that one? Not Roy G. Biv? The rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, G, green, G, blue, Biv, indigo, violet. The colors of the rainbow, Roy G. Biv. There's your acronym for the day. What you find is the water will start filtering out different wavelengths and different wave speeds. And what you find out is that red is your fastest and it will go away first at about 15 feet roughly. After that, your oranges start disappearing 25, 30 feet. Yellows are next at around 60. If you guys remember that video, how everything looked shades of blue at 75 feet, that's because they were. All we had was greens. And when I put my flashlight back on it, I was able to bring back the actual colors of it, right? So your vision underwater, be aware that everything looks closer and bigger. It's a guy's dream that every fish he will see underwater will be this big. When you bring it up to the surface, they will actually be this big. So it's every guy's best and dream come true that everything is bigger and closer. I see it happen all the time where somebody reaches to grab something and they're like, happens. I can't tell you how many crawdads that I picked up that I thought were about this big and I brought them to the surface and they were about that big. It happens. Everything will look bigger, is magnified as well. Other thing to be aware of is water will wick the heat away from your body 4 times faster than air. So be aware that as you get into the water, or I'm sorry, that is not correct, 25 times faster than air. Having a brain aneurysm apparently today. So be aware that as you are in the water, that the water will wick the heat away from you a lot faster. So we're in the Caribbean, or we decided we're all diving the Red Sea. The Red Sea is 84 degrees today. Can you get hypothermia?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can tell you, we were diving 76 degrees. It was warm. It felt nice. At 2.5 hours, my wife is cold. Absolutely. I'm fat, so it works out real well for me. In my favor, that I've got an extra layer of security, and I was wearing a 5 mil wetsuit, boots with socks in them as well, and gloves and a beanie, so I didn't get as cold as Nikki did, but it definitely happens. So be aware that the life aquatic will definitely cause that. The accessory systems. So as we all know, just like going to prom with your girlfriend, it's not about the dress. It's not about the BC. It's about the accessories. It's about the little things. And while this is more of a joke that you cannot dive with your dog, the little things that are important are the fun things. The camera, the lights, the knife. All the little fun things are what makes diving a lot more fun as well. So there are tons of accessories out there. The first one is your dive light. As you can see there, I've got a nice little light. It bring back all the colors as well. GoPro is definitely a fun thing as well. And then this is one of my dive computers. I keep a knife right on my dive computer, so it's easy to grab. A dive bag. The last thing, anybody ever seen somebody crash on the slopes as you're out skiing and you see a ski here, a ski over there, a pole over there? You got a big yard sale. Please don't become a yard sale when you're diving. A nice dive bag to put your crap in goes a long way. And there's all kinds of cool dive bags out there. We sell quite a few of them here. Generally they're mesh, so because I promise you, if you put those wet shorts and stuff, I just had this happen this weekend. We went diving on Saturday. We put our wet dry suits into a bag, and I didn't take them out until this morning. They smelled a little ripe, so I pulled them out, hung them up, and put the fan on them. So a dive bag goes a long way. Make sure you have cases for your spare items. The other thing that goes a long way is a Save a Dive kit. You can get them on Amazon for about 150 bucks. Comes with some wrenches, some screwdrivers, some adjustment tools, and some O-rings. An O-ring cost you a pack of O-rings for 40 O-rings will cost you about 10 bucks. I can promise you O-rings go bad, especially on tanks. On different first stage pieces, they go bad. Nothing will drive you nuts more than when your O-ring bursts just before a dive and you don't have a spare O-ring. So you lose out on a dive because of a 20-cent or 50-cent part. So it's definitely to your advantage. In my dive or Save a Dive kit, I also got a pair of locking adjustable channel lock pliers as well. It just makes it stupid nice to be able to clip it up. You can also, we sell some Swiss Army knife style tools. They've got a pick in it. It's got a couple wrenches. It's got a couple Allen wrenches. It's Swiss Army style, so it flips out. I've got one in my Save a Dive kit. I love it. It flips out and makes it nice and easy to be able to wrench things off. So don't get caught with your flat-footed on a dive trip for want of a $25 piece of thing you could have bought on the mainland. I promise you, if you decide to buy it in Hawaii, that same thing. I had a mask break on a Hawaii trip about 5-6 years ago. Got to spend it would have mainland, the price of the mask would have been about $125. I got to spend $250 for it. So you get the opportunity to spend a lot more than you probably normally would. So let's talk about the basic rules of scuba. We already talked about the number one rule of scuba, which is
Breathe continuously.
always breathe. Breathe, 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 damn it, breathe, right? It's the number one rule of scuba. The second rule of scuba, ascend slowly and maintain control. If you're at 60 feet, pushing that bladder button full open and watching how fast you can rise, becoming a Triton missile is not to your advantage. You will learn about something called DCS or the bends. You will learn about it very quickly, and it will not be your best friend. You can actually get the bends out here in the pool. So when we start doing our pool stuff, if you get concerned or something's going on, ascend slowly. Take your time, come up, take it easy. This is not a speed sport. Every skill that I'm going to ask you to do, I'm not asking you to do it quickly. Take your time. Think about each movement of the skill and do that, and then move to the next movement of the skill. The third rule is never dive alone or beyond your training. Always dive within your training, your ability, and your comfort level. Take your time. Remember, if something does happen, stop. Breathe. Think. That is just a good lesson for life, right? I'm just going to bring this over here. It might be easier. There's only 3 of you guys. All right, proper breathing patterns. Good news for you guys, bad news for you guys. You guys have learned to breathe incorrectly. Anybody ever watch a baby, how they breathe? How does a baby breathe?
Say it just does.
Yeah.
From their belly. They diaphragmic breathe. So what I want you guys to start thinking about, and this was in Roatan, by the way, in case you're wondering, and what you'll see is a lot of times what I'll do is before we descend, I'll stop you guys. I give you my Zen symbol. And what I want you to do is I want you to relax your brain, relax your body, relax your breathing. So brain, body, think, relax. Okay? And then start it down. Breathing should be slow and relaxed. Normally. What I want you guys to start thinking about, though, is breathing from the belly first. 60% of the oxygenation that your body receives comes from the bottom 1/3 of your lungs. 60%. So, breathe in through your belly, out into your chest, and then out from your chest, out through your belly. Diaphragmic breathe. It's called ideal breathing. Okay? Balanced and rhythmic. Okay? All right, so some pool and hand and arm signals. This is, since we obviously can't communicate underwater, we're going to use hand and arm signals. I need a wideband XL. Damn it, I broke another nail. It's fun to do the YMCA. Just kidding, these are actually signs. Just my way of being funny. So communication we're going to talk about is going to be pretty straightforward. What I'm going to do, and you're going to see me do this a lot. My dive guys are going to do this a lot to you. I'm going to point at you. I'm asking a question. Anytime I ask you, I'm expecting an answer. If there's something wrong, then I want you to tell me something wrong. But you'll give me that okay symbol back if you're okay. If you're not okay, point to whatever's wrong and give me this. That means something's wrong. Easy enough? Okay. Try and give me an idea. Absolutely, and it could be he's an asshole. I'm cool with that, or whatever it is. My dive buddy is a dummy. I'm cool with that. Not okay. He dummy. It's fine. You can certainly do that, but try and give me something that's wrong. Okay. Okay. Now I got 3 more symbols for you. What do you think this means? Descend. Level off. Close. In my world, this means end of dive. Now here's the thing. Anybody can end a dive at any reason for any time, for any reason with no consequences. Here's why. You and I are out diving. We've decided we've gone to Truck Lagoon. We're diving some big wrecks. We've gone down. We've been down for 2 minutes. You give me this. I come to the surface. Damn it! And I throw my little man fit, right? Luckily, you guys will never see that because that's just not my thing. But I throw this big fit. Hey, going. If you have a problem with air on the second dive, will you tell me? Probably not. You're scared to. Why would you tell me anything? This is a no consequence sport. You can end a dive for any reason with no consequences, period. I don't care. Now, if you end the dive with me, I'll probably ask, hey, what's going on? Everything okay? You feeling okay? Hey, I just need to reset. Everything's not okay. I was low on air. My big toe really hurt. I just needed to get out of the water. You can reset the dive. I'm not going to get mad. And that's how it's got to be, and it's how you have to proceed forward, right? Okay? So, I'm okay. Once you get in the water, what you'll realize is, as you guys saw those waves, how easy would it be for the dive master on the boat to see that? Not at all. So, if you're in the water and you're trying to signal somebody out of the water, this means I'm okay. Okay? Simple enough? That means simple enough. I'm okay, or I'm okay, but this means something's going on. They're going to come figure it out. Easy enough? Now, the cool thing is, what you'll find is, as we go through this process, there are a lot of hand and arm signals. Duty. See? There's a bunch of them. Absolutely. Oh. There's all kinds of fun signals out there. And as you dive with your buddy more often, you'll get those signals what they are. All right. See if SSI comes up for us. Oh, good, it does. So next week, or on Thursday, we're going to go through and we're going to be doing mask drills. It's one of my favorite things to do. You need to do it a lot. They may not be your favorite. The first drill is going to be mask drill 1, halfway. Okay, simply enough. What you're going to do is you're going to look up. You're going to pull the mask away from at the top of, and you're going to let the water come in halfway. Then you're going to simply, I'm going to put this all the way on. You're going to simply take 2 fingers, put them at the top corners of the mask. You're going to look up, breathe in through your mouth, out through your nose. Until all the water is out. Once all the water is out and you're comfortable, you're going to look at me and you're going to go, I'm okay. Good news is I will demonstrate this next week on the surface and at depth, and then I'll ask you to do it yourself. If you're not comfortable with anything, or if I'm going too fast, I want you to simply put up the stop sign and go to the next person, or ask me to demonstrate it again. Okay, that will be mask drill 1, halfway. Mask drill 2 will be all the way. It'll be just like mask drill number 1. You're going to look up. You're going to crack your mask. You're going to let all the water in. So it's all the way to the top. Then you're going to look at me, look up, and you can breathe until all the water is out of the mask. Now, good news. If it takes you 1 breath to do either of these skills, fantastic, you're a superstar. If it takes you 3 breaths to do it, fantastic, you've got it done. If it takes you 10 breaths, fantastic, you pass the skill. This is a pass-fail only. If it takes you more than 10 breaths, we'll probably come to the surface and talk about it. But there's no consequence. We'll get you through it. Mask drill 3 will be the removal. Now, it gets a little tricky for you. Take a breath. What I want you to do is crack the mask and fill it up completely with water. Once you've cracked it, let it all fill up with water. Take that left hand, pull the mask strap around behind your hand, and pull it gently away from your face. Now, just like Mom said, if you put something away where it's supposed to be, it'll be there when you want it to be. When you take that left hand, you're going to reach over, you're going to find the nose well, just to make sure you know where that nose well is. Okay? Take that mask, put it right back on your face. Make sure everything's out of the way. The little strap that wants to get in my way. You're going to take that strap, put it back over the crown of your head. You're going to look up. 2 fingers on your mask. Till all the water is out of your mask. Easy enough? Easy peasy lemon squeezy? All right, that's all we're going to do. Mask drill 1, halfway. Mask drill 2, all the way. Mask drill 3, we're going to take it off. Crack it, strap, pull it away, nose well, put it back, back. Easy enough? Thank you, sir. After that, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to learn about the regulator drills. There are 5 of them. Regulator drill number 1. You will have your primary regulator mouth. You'll be breathing along. Everything's going good. Regulator drill number 1 is going to be the blow. So you're going to take that regulator, grab it at the base, take a breath, put it in, make sure that's pointed down. Blow bubbles. Always breathe. Number 1 rule, and always breathe. You can make a motorboat sound. It's kind of fun. Blow little bubbles. Don't try and blow it all at one time. Put it back in your mouth. And what I want you to do with the rest of your breath is to clear it out. About a half a teaspoon of water will fill up inside this when it's out. If you breathe it in immediately, it will feel like you are drowning. It will not be a pleasant feeling, I promise you. So make sure you breathe out and clear your regulator every time it comes out of your mouth. Okay? That's going to be regulator drill number 1, the blow. Regulator drill number 2 is very similar. We're going to take it up, take a breath. Regulator drill at the base. It's going to come back in. You're going to magically find that there is a big button on the front of this. If you push that, it will purge. Once it purges, then take another breath. That's regulator drill number 2, the purge. Okay? Regulator drill number 3. Take a breath. You're going to take that breath, you're going to pull it out, mouthpiece down, toss it off the side. Now here's where we're going to let gravity be our best friend. What I would like you to do is you're going to lean to your side. You're going to take your arm, straight elbow. You're going to slap your side. We call this the Texas quick draw. Slap your side. Keep going back. You'll find your tank. Feel your tank. Bring it up and around. Take that left hand from the wrist. Now the secret to this is always straight elbow. Wrist down. Magically, you'll come up with your lines, bring it back over, put it in, clear it your preferred method, either blow or purge, whatever you like best. Again, that's regulator drill number 3, the toss. Regulator drill number 4, you're going to take a breath. Down, toss. You're going to find that second. It's going to be clipped into a nice little yellow bungee. Just grab it and pull it. It'll be wet underwater, I promise. Put that in, clear it your preferred method. Once you've got that cleared in your mouth and everything's good to go, you're going to take that left hand. You're going to reach around behind you. You're going to lift that tank. You're going to take this arm. You're going to take it straight out, all the way back. You're going to reach back and you're going to find, that will actually be back there. You'll find your first stage. Once you find your first stage, you'll find your hoses. You'll find your primary hose. Bring it back out. You're going to take your safety second out. Put your primary back in. Clear your preferred method. Now, if you don't, I will ask you to clean it up. You'll take the safety second, and you'll put it back in the nice little yellow bungee that is on your side. Once you got through that skill, I want you to give me the okay. Okay? The final drill is the regulator drill number 5, and that is the free flow. Okay? What I'd like you to do is you're going to take a breath. Take it out of your mouth, point it down. You face your face down. You're going to put it in your mouth halfway. Push the purge. And I want you to take... The idea is I just want you to get the idea that you can breathe on a free-flowing regulator. The good news is if a regulator fails, it will fail open. That's how they're designed to. So if something happens, sand gets stuck in the spring, gets frozen, whatever happens, it'll freeze in the open and it'll go to free flow. The cool thing is you probably won't notice it. The first time it happened to me, I was in the river, 29 degrees in the river just downtown, and I could hear bubbles, and I couldn't figure out where they're coming from. And then finally I was like, oh, they're coming from me. So I signaled, okay, I'm out, ending dive. You guys go ahead. And so they went ahead, I went ahead, headed up, got to the surface, started paddling to the shore, and I ran out of air. From 3,000 PSI to 0 PSI, about a minute and a half. So it doesn't take a long time. If you go to a free flow, you want to end your dive right then and there. Easy enough? So those are the big skills we're going to learn and practice on next week after we learn our scuba skills of how to use a snorkel. Now, we're almost halfway on this class for tonight. I want to remind you that we have the opportunity for, I don't know why that's there, so let's just get rid of that. We have the Master Diver Challenge. After that is Dive Guide or Dive Master. Now, I do all these programs as a mentorship. What we do is we figure out what you want to do, where you want to go, and then we mentor you through that process. Both these gentlemen have finished my mentoring process with that process. David went all the way from open water diver with me through advanced open water. Well, he went through specialty diver, advanced open water, master diver, and then to dive guide and then dive master with me. What was the mentorship program like for you, David?
It was I feel like it was a very thorough experience where you guys kind of just get the flash flood of information, just enough to get you interested in going. Going as far as master diver lets you learn a more profound understanding of what you're getting into. So instead of just being like, oh, don't ascend more than 33 feet per minute, there's a reason. You get to just dive a lot deeper into the whys of everything, and with that comes a lot greater confidence.
There you go. Aaron, you've kind of been working a little bit with me. I caught you kind of later in the cycle, but
Yeah, so I actually did a lot of commercial diving for work, and so it was kind of back to the basics. Got to help teach a few classes, or help with teaching the classes to see how Ben taught, and definitely was very thorough. Learn all those basic skills again, make sure I understood, I guess, needs of other people. Where kind of commercial diving, I'm there for myself for work. So he made sure that, I was able to understand what the students are doing and then be able to help that way.
absolutely. And then we went through some buoyancy skills with you. How did that work out?
Good. With commercial diving, it's be as heavy as you possibly can to be on the bottom, because that's where you got to work. Getting buoyant again, or working on buoyancy again, was a good refresher.
Excellent. We do it all as a mentorship. I'm not a big fan of just, say, classes. Just, okay, take this class, this class, and this class. Let's figure out what you want to do, how you want to get there, and let's make sure you get the skills to get you there. We're going to go through this on, by the way, this is Owen. Owen is the cutest grandson ever. This was on his manatee dive, and he had a great time with that. What we're going to do next week, or on Thursday, I should say, is we're going to go through equipment assembly, snorkeling. I'm not going to go through equipment assembly tonight. I feel it's a waste of time. I'd rather do it on Thursday, where you have to do it to make sure you live. There's higher stakes on Thursday than there are today. I'm just kidding. We're going to go through snorkeling clearing, mask clearing, types of kicks, equalization techniques, head first snorkel dive, surfacing, kelp dive, deep water exit, and giant stride entry. We're going to do some face in the water breathing. I'm going to make you take your mask off and put your gear on, and I'm going to make you breathe without your mask. Make you sit on your bottom and breathe for a while just to get you comfortable. We'll play for a little bit after that. Good news is we're going to put Aaron on the spot for this, and he's going to teach you how to snorkel. So he's going to have to read the snorkel manual because he is a certified snorkeling instructor. By the way, he just got certified, so we're very excited about that. Let's see. That's where we usually end dive night 1. So let's go ahead and stop, give you guys a 5-minute break, get you something to drink, get you something to stretch, and we'll start up on night number 2. Night number 2 is where it gets more interesting. You want us to go ahead and stop it, Aaron?